So, part Roman 2, there is outline of Constitution of Kenya 2010, which is actually in page 23. Chapter 1 starts at page 27, power of the people and authority of the Constitution. Chapter 2 is the Republic. And I'll ask questions here. So, what is a republic according to Constitution?
You're asking me?
The Republic on chapter 2. What does that entail?
The Republic. Or your chapter
2, page 29. Now Tanzania says their border runs south. Straight line.
Yeah.
Is it Somalia? Yeah, Somalia.
Yeah.
Does that violate our
Well,
sovereign states? Those kind of interesting questions.
Yeah.
And we say their border runs straight towards east. That's the bone of contention.
The bone of contention.
Yeah.
And what? Yeah. So perhaps we could read this for chapter 2. What makes your school and relating it to the school? What makes your school different from others? What physical features can help you make this distinction?
Okay.
Is it your school logo or uniform? So to help understand the Republic, it says every sovereign country must determine its own identity.
Yeah.
Every sovereign country must determine its own identity.
Yeah.
So that's one of the characteristics of the Republic. So this chapter defines Kenya's territory, giving the characteristics of a republic, and sets out its attributes that give Kenya its uniqueness, including our national flag. The chapter further identifies Kiswahili and English as official languages and also outlines our national holiday. Yeah.
And that reminds me something interesting here that Kenyans believe that what unifies us Kenyan on Twitter and memes and what else? There are a couple of things that are actually more than the teens that we're talking about understand more than the Constitution. So number one is Kenyan on Twitter, the memes when they're attacked by other countries, how they rally around things. But guys, you need to understand that Kenyan national flag or any country's national flag is as important as that country. Here even is not supposed to touch the ground.
Well, it's
so I hear. It's very bad for a flag to just be... I was a scout at some point, and we could always make sure the flag doesn't touch it. Flag masts levels identify different scenarios, and there are people who are mandated to ensure that the flag always flies high. So I see there are national holidays there. There's a national anthem. There's citizenship, and there's the modern East African Community passport. So as a Kenyan citizen, I have a right to get a passport and other national identification documents. How, if that right is violated, how can I go and ensure that I'm protected?
Well, there are processes. Of course, you're going to apply.
Yeah.
And the reason why I put the image of this young boy who drawn as though to depict Somali community is because of what many of them perceive as discrimination in terms identity discrimination.
Yeah.
Where you are a Kenyan-born Somali or a Kenyan-born, and you're told to go to process documentation, but then you're told that you cannot get your papers because you're perceived to be from Somalia and from a different community. So it's been a whole discussion.
Yeah.
For some people, it's taken one generation to the other. But if we are going to have conversations about citizenship as provided in the Constitution, then we must also engage teenagers from varied communities to understand their experiences and to understand their understanding of their identity as Kenyans.
Yes.
So that for me is one of the reasons of having this picture and having that conversation as far as access to identity documents documents.
True.
Identity documents are
Yeah.
concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very nice. So Bill of Rights, we have talked about that a little bit. Land and the environment. Let's see what the Constitution says in a nutshell. That should be page 51. So am I land and
I'll ask you the question
yes.
at page 55.
Yes. 55. The Ongie community land.
Can the government limit how much land you can own?
Can it right now as things are?
Yeah.
No. As much as I'm getting it legally and I'm making use of it. Yes. Is that the case or no? It's supposed to be limited to how much land, how big land you can own.
That's up for debate.
So it has no answer.
It has homework. It has homework answers. Can the government limit how much land one can own and why? But then for that, it's important to have an understanding of the many categories of land: private land, community land, and public land, and which one you are able to own. As for the young people dealing with or hoping to own land, or whose parents are having land issues, then they can always advise their parents adequately.
Yeah. So when I think about it, if government can limit how big of a land I should own, then I think that law or that guideline is quite biased.
Yeah.
Yes.
Open for public debate.
Yes.
Or whether or it should. Can the government limit how much land?
Okay, it should, because
one can own.
If I think it should be fair law, because there's no way you would be passing tracts and tracts of kilometers and kilometers of land that are owned by one person.
Yeah.
But once you are heading to the end of that land, you find squatters who are there, who are living, very poorly and in very dilapidated situations. And there are all these kilometers and kilometers of land. Of course, maybe this person bought this land legally, but there should be a way, maybe sell at a, I don't know. I'm not really qualified to say what should be done, but I feel like as a human, there is no point to have a lot and others have minimum. Of course, maybe there are people who sell their own land and go and decide to be squatters. That's a whole different case and point. But nevertheless, we should find a way to balance the equations. Though sometimes it's really hard to balance the equations. So
someone else will say,
as you said, it's debatable.
Yeah. Someone else will say it should not.
Yeah.
It should not limit. Others will look at the Constitution and find answers there.
Yeah.
So that's homework as well.
True. So chapter 6 is leadership and integrity, and I have more question about this, because we tend to elect crooks, and I don't know if our institutions are really ready to deal with these processes. And when you think about it, I think we can change that if we want over time again. So that's very interesting to see what leadership and integrity means, especially for the young guys who can grow knowing how can we do this. Because I believe in the institution of we can live the right way, do things the right way, and still have abundance at the end of it all. Then chapter 7, representation of the people. Let's see about that. 59. So the Constitution provides that every citizen above 18 years has the right to vote unless he or she is mentally ill and incapable of understanding the nature and significance of voter registration and the voting processes. And there are some depicting pictures that says, I'll be the president one day, and you're sleeping. You're dreaming about
dreaming of the president as a young person. And there are some who do, actually.
And there's a Lynette there, Lynette Totochep Koril. This is so latest.
Yeah.
Who was 24 years. Actually, she's a senator. I think Bomet senator, right? Not
Bomet County women rep elect.
Oh, women rep. Okay.
Yeah.
Not senator. And there's Munge Kibiwot, who is an MCA.
Who was
okay.
So that section is about
at 19. Okay,
this
is new.
young people who made a mark. If you're talking about representation of the people and and the Constitution giving young people the right to vote or to stand for election. So it's also good to highlight the young people who've made a mark, who've stood out and said, I want to vie. We have, and we gave different examples. Lynette Toto is the recent one. You have a lady called Proskovia Angelot or Romite, who became Africa's youngest member of parliament at the age of 19, after she won the Usuk County elections in the 2020 general election in Uganda. So
was she voted back after 5 years?
Well, she went ahead to do other things, but it was one thing that was really celebrated. And I think not so much a different story from Toto's, where you have a young person being supported and given the necessary skills that she needs to do well as a young leader. So then that tells other young people that it's actually very possible to decide to go for elections, to stand for elections, and to exercise your political rights.
Then I see you have a table nicely done there, indicating the office, elected, nominated by. Then there's a role. Because also when you elect someone, you need to know what their role is, because you tend to elect leaders and then we make them chief guest in every other event, which is not fair per se. So, but also again, I think that is debatable. And then there are numbers there. What do those numbers represent? Oh, the numbers of the people who are okay. I see. Then we have Honorable Mother Karua and Honorable Charity Kaluki Ngilu.
How many people know? How many young people know that she was the first ever female presidential candidate in Kenya? Because she's still alive.
True.
It's important for us to have history for what it is and to celebrate those who've gone before us as they should.
Charity Ngilu, that is. Maybe zero. Charity Ngilu ran for president. I remember very well. I shook her hand in 1997 back in Isiolo. Now it's Isiolo County, but Isiolo Town though. So, and
and even the one for Martha Wangari, of which some of them have experience. She's also Kenya's first female presidential running mate, following her nomination by a major political party. And this is very significant.
This is in 2022.
Yes. And this is very significant within this chapter on representation of the people, because it's not just for older people that have witnessed the struggle, but it's also for the young women especially. That many years later, this happened, and how significant it is for younger women who this path has already been open for them, so that as they're reading the Constitution, as they're continuing to engage, let it not be something alien. 10 years from now, let it not be something alien. Let it be something that has happened, and it is possible to happen. We just need to normalize it moving forward, because the Constitution provides that space, provides that platform. It is us to change our mindsets and to ensure that in the next election, the next 3-4 elections, it is not we have as many female presidential running mates as we could.
Okay. Now, chapter 9, the executive. There's the legislature where talking about the laws and the making of those laws. So when you think about it, I have the right to share my views on the bills that are discussed in Parliament. And you talk about public participation. Are we allowed to go to the Parliament to listen to those guys debate about, their salaries or something?
Well, you can't go to Parliament and see it, but some of the developments and the requirements is that it's made public. Because before it was closed.
Yes,
it was a closed people affair.
Yes.
But then now with the changes and swing changes, reforms, because that was also part of the reform agenda, reforms within the legislature, then you make it public as part of the public participation, so that you're not sitting at an ivory tower making laws.
Yes.
but your people can see how you participate, what you say, and the kind of decisions you make. I'd like to ask you a question.
Yes.
And it's also homework for those who might not get it right.
Yeah.
On page 73 at H, is it true or false that a senator is a member of parliament?
True or false? I think it's true. They are a member of parliament. They make laws for the counties. They are county representative. Is that right? How do you know if you are right or wrong? Or you
And
just
J, the National Assembly makes laws. No, let me not ask you that one. The Senate makes laws for the country.
for the country or county?
The Senate, is it true or false? The Senate makes laws for the country.
The Senate for the country. Yes, true. Yes, I'm thinking where maybe, and this might be wrong, I don't know. Where a parliament passes law, that is the lower house, and then it's taken to, there are some laws that, for instance, if you want to impeach a president, that's the one that has been commonly spoken about. The members of parliament makes a law, maybe they carry out the bill of impeaching the president, then the Senate has to approve that bill to be implemented. So I assume that affects the whole country as a bill. Maybe the other scenarios where they don't need to get involved. But that's, you say these answers, I can get them from this book?
Yes. And use the Constitution as well.
Okay.
Because the focus of the Senate is to protect the interests of the counties.
Not country.
Of the counties.
Counties.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now but you cannot, and that is why I haven't given the answers
Okay.
to spur
Okay.
curiosity and to spur conversation.
Okay.
So that
I get
you
it.
each have your different interpretations and then you find the common and the right answer.
Okay. And there's something that you have mentioned there that is really important. Our laws are made in parliament.
Yes.
So those 7, 8, 9 steps, very important for someone to understand. I want to mention them. So you can check this book. Then there is the chapter 9, the executive, and you have listed our presidents here, starting the president, Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, Johnston himself. There is His Excellency, Daniel Arap Moi. Actually, all the presidents are referred to as Their Excellency. Daniel Arap Moi. Then we have the third president, His Excellency Emilio Mwai Kibaki, the best president that Kenya has ever had. Then we have our fourth president, His Excellency Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And then we have I think 3 months old. We're in 2022. The month is actually September. And we have fifth president of Kenya, William Kipchirchir Samoei Arap Ruto. So we're here to see how he performs. He has served as the deputy president for the last 10 years. Yes. So any question for me there for challenge? No, we are good. Okay. Chapter 10, Judiciary, where you have played a key role. So we won't venture on that much, but we can say there are levels of court. So there's Supreme Court, there's Court of Appeal, there's High Court, then there's Magistrate Court, which involves Kadhi Court and Court Martial. Let me ask this question as a Christian. Why don't we have a Christian court? Constitutionally. I think we should change our constitution. We should call a referendum to have a Christian court. No, this is me speaking, so don't take that to the bank.
And
but I think it's an important question.
Then we'll have an Akorino court and...
No, that falls under Christian.
Okay. Well,
if you think about it, actually, that falls under Christian. The two main religions in Kenya are Islam and Christianity.
There's traditional, there's Hindu.
There's traditional religion. Which one is that?
How do I put it? There's the traditional, I'm forgetting the right word. But I know that the traditional religion, and then you have the Hinduism, And then now we have the atheists. So
No, don't talk about this. This is not a religion.
they have a choice. They have the right to religion, if that is what they have chosen.
But is it a religion? Do they even say these are religion?
Well, you
I
need to
don't think
invite
so.
one.
I don't think
You
so.
need to invite
I've
one
seen a
to
couple of
Africa
debates
Store,
and it
okay.
ends up in a way that even I don't understand. I'm not assuming they're not there. But what I'm trying to say is this. There are two, even I think the democracy says majority wins and minority have their say, right? Of course, I know they are there, the atheist. But the two main religions in Kenya, it's Islam and Christianity.
But you see now, issues of rights and access to justice don't deal with majority.
They deal with
They
what?
deal with just that. Right? It's my right. We have the freedom of expression.
So you are saying
I have my freedom of association. I have my right to choose my religion and culture. So
guys online, you can help me debunk this. Do Christian have rights? And if they do we need a court for that? Maybe we should be claiming our tithe through the courts or define that tithe. I don't know. It's a debatable, so don't want to get controversial, but yeah. Then there's chapter 11, devolved government. Do you think we should, according to how county government have performed, what have we devolved? Because we have now even the ministers at the county level. Is it really worth it?
The whole purpose was to ensure that services were, you devolve services, you devolve resources, because for those who lived the experience before devolution, you needed an ID, Nairobi. You needed anything else. And then the centralization of power as well, and decision making, and so it's not perfect.
Yeah,
we are yet to achieve perfection, but it has its advantages. There's a lot that it has helped with, but in terms of even just giving that political identity to those who feel that way at the county level.
Yeah,
resources are there. You feel represented at the local level in a way that you can always relate to your leaders and not waiting for the president to come to your area for you to feel power or for you to feel what the national government or political.
But at what costs?
Nothing comes easy and cheap. And it's going to take a while.
Yes.
What perhaps we need to do as a people and as a community is to promote effectiveness and efficiency within these new structures. Yeah.
But if they are well managed, actually.
If they are well managed, it's going to be, and you can see that with certain counties.
Yeah.
I like, for instance, what's happening in my county, Kisumu. Over the past 10 years, it's been, it's been great. It's cleaner. It's brighter.
It's not the handshake.
Well, handshake or not, because there can be the handshake, and then.
I see a lot of handshake more than the county government, to be honest. You know, I love Kisumu, and I visit there a couple of times a year. And I've been visiting since the county devolution was implemented. The moment I've seen immense change is the last 5 years.
Exactly. And you see, and that I realized that was a discussion that was being had even in post this election period, where they were saying that now because there are certain communities that are not within government, then they're going to disenfranchise and not, just a little bit of political PTSD, but then also
PTSD.
Yeah,
I like how you put it. Yeah.
Exactly, because you see, the handshake could have been there, but all counties get money for development.
Yes.
So what is it that your governor or your leader at the county level is doing with the little that they have? The money that they have.
Yeah.
So that you have certain counties using their money for infrastructural development and salaries, which is some of the complaints that people have.
Yes.
And even the auditor of budget, gotten that right, has that very little money is going to development.
Yeah.
much of it is going to paying salaries and building those huge governor and deputy governor mansions.
Yeah.
So there can be the handshake. Someone can be given millions of money. But if you're not a leader with a vision and a plan, then you're just recycling the same. I was going to use another word, but you're just recycling the same stuff.
Yes.
Year in, year out. It doesn't make a difference. So it requires vision, it requires leadership, and it requires a plan, which most counties need. Others are already steps ahead, and others will catch up.
Okay, nice. Now that you're talking about that, chapter 12 is public finance. What is public and what is private finance? What's the difference?
So it's saying
national divide the national cake.
Divide the national cake.
Yeah. And there was a time we were talking about is it nyama or something? The nyama choma.
Yeah. Could I read the first two just to introduce this, and then they can read the rest of it?
Yeah.
Under chapter 12 on public finance, I wrote, your family has a budget that guides how you spend your money through the year. This budget helps you cover your needs, your wants, expenses, and saving goals.
Yeah.
The government also has a national budget, which it uses to plan its income and expenditure. The government, for example, needs money to provide various services to citizens. Public hospitals require drugs and equipment to provide quality health care, while public schools need books and qualified teachers, all who need to be paid. Accordingly, public money collected through taxes should be properly managed for the benefit of all at the national and county level. The Constitution requires that the government is answerable to citizens on how it uses public money. So all public money collected, taxes, by the national and county government is placed in a consolidated fund. Then both the national and county government are then required to come up with budgets indicating the activities they intend to undertake within the year, including the construction of roads, hospitals, cattle dips, and other infrastructure. So I think that gives good introduction to
Do you
the
still have
chapter.
cattle dips?
Well, modernized, because cattle still have to be dipped. Cattle still have to be
cattle
dipped.
dips. I remember back in the day, I'm like, do you still have those cattle
And they were
dips?
powerful
They
things, by the
were
way.
community, actually.
Very community. And the
I
person
don't
who
think they
managed them,
exist.
or the person whose
Nowadays,
land they were in,
People use an knapsack, and
they are modernized. I think I've seen modernized. Because the cattle have to be dipped. You can't spray them individually like that. All the medicine won't get it. So they're modernized one where they have the showers and then some spray thingies for medicine.
and a year ago, people are going through cattle dips in some county. I wouldn't say which county is that.
The shade.
They are called the shades.
And I'm saying you're throwing shade at some other people.
No, it's true. They were built, some spraying. You just pass there, you're sanitized. Yeah, I don't know how healthy that was.
But then they came out healthy though.
Yeah, then public service, chapter 13. So public service, there's a whole chapter there that gives you... So employment in public offices should represent Kenya's diversity and afford equal opportunities to all regardless of status. I hear there was this university that had 60% of people from one tribe.
I had the rumor too.
Yeah. It wasn't a rumor. It was justified by data. And it was one of the biggest universities. But I think they addressed that over time. And I think they had an argument. So they say they hire people on merits, not on tribal basis. And if people from one community are smart, you should not deny them a chance because they are from one tribe. And that made sense, but I think that was addressed over time.
And if I could, Michael, for this chapter, in part of the activities, I included an activity with the help of an older person, organize a public servants recognition ceremony at home, school, or in your activity club. The ideas could range from writing personal letters to the outstanding civil servants, thanking them for their contribution to public service, and writing short stories on the lives of inspiring public servants, or even organizing an award ceremony for them. And I think this should go towards changing perceptions of public servants, who they are, what they do. Yes. Okay. Because, like we said again, each market has its people. And even within the public service, you're going to find very, very dedicated public servants who are hardworking, who have a heart for people, and who do their work diligently.
Yes.
Not asking for bribes. Just service to the people. And then in the same breath, you have the young people. They are teenagers today who are going to be making up our public service. We have public servants in high school right now.
Yeah.
So what message are we sending to them as future public servants? Because if we keep demonizing the public service and saying there's nothing good that can come with it, public servants and this and that, always, often and often, how then do we create interest within that generation of future public servants? How then do we motivate them to serve their country in that capacity?
Yes.
So then I'm hoping then this chapter, what they will read and the exercises they will do will then help change that perception.
True.
And ensure that within our high schools, there's a 16-year-old who perhaps is going to be the head of civil service, or who perhaps is going to, lead this
Head
country.
of civil service.
Oh, yes.
I've known him since I was in primary school.
Of course, and he does a good job. He's really good at what he
If I was
does.
in primary school and still the head of public service, what are the chances of me becoming head of?
You could. You could. Who knows?
Also, you need to live practically.
It could. So, but basically, for that chapter, it's meant to nurture the next generation of public servants.
Yes.
And I hope there's a young person who will read it and do the exercises and begin to think differently about serving their country in that capacity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we have chapter 14, national security. And I'm so passionate about this because I believe these people are men of valor, and they dedicate their life in serving the country. Some of them die serving the country. What does it say? So, did you know the internationally recognized minimum age of responsibility is 12 years old?
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
This is the age from which a person is considered to have the capacity to distinguish right from wrong and can therefore be held responsible for their criminal acts. Which country recognizes this minimum age?
The internationally recognized.
That is Interpol.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not Interpol, but within the laws governing children.
Oh, but here it's the 18 years.
Here it's not 18 years. Initially, actually, this was one of the, I was actually telling someone, this is one of the reasons why the book even delayed by a couple of months, because initially I'd put the Kenyan one that the age of criminal responsibility is 7 years, which is what was there in our Kenyan laws. For the longest term, 7 years. So if you commit a criminal act as a 7-year-old, then you can be held responsible for that criminal act. And then a couple of months ago, the children bill was passed. The president signed the children bill. And then that now changed that aspect of criminal responsibility from 7 to align it to the international standards of 12. So even with the newly signed law, it is now at 7 as opposed to, it's now at 12 as opposed to 7. What it was
7
before.
is a bit young.
That's a bit young.
They need guidance and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so interesting aspects there. So I think you can get the book, read about all these interesting aspects. I never knew that's a international minimum age for international criminalization.
Then of course other countries will vary it. Others 16, others
Yeah, I think it should be 18. Or 21 if you allow someone to drink alcohol. 21. Why are you criminalizing their acts at that tender age? It should be okay. It should be fair. Then chapter 15, commissions and independent offices. And I have one thing to say about this commission and independent office. So commissions specifically, we were synonymous, especially during one regime rule, where we could create commissions to solve commissions mishaps. And then once you could form commissions on top of commissions. And I think we lost some faith towards commission approach of solving issues. So, and I think the new constitution talks about, it's not so new, it's 2010 constitution, talks about how this can be actually established in a way that it's not compromisable to the ruling regimes. And there are a number of commissions that are approved in the Constitution. I can see you have listed them here.
Yes.
They're like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Only. And then the independent office that are recognized in the Constitution. 3 of them. So I think this was established because of the mistrust that people had towards commissions and independent offices. Then I see you have listed very well the commission and the main function,
Yes.
amongst many other. Then chapter 16, which is very important because of the BBI process and what most people promise their supporters. Amendment of the Constitution. Very important aspect. I think this actually has protected Kenyans not once, not twice, since the Constitution 2010 was formed. And it has outlined very clear way of amending the Constitution. Do you want to say something about this?
Yes, I did. And it's like in page 112, paragraph 2. I could do why. So the first one, introduction. You have read how important the Constitution is to the society. It is a reflection of your wishes on how you want to be governed and how your rights and freedoms should be protected.
Yeah.
The Constitution recognizes that society is forever changing, and what may be good for you today may not hold the same value for you tomorrow.
Yes.
It therefore prescribes processes through which its provisions can be changed to suit your emerging needs and wishes. Now, it is this process of including new views, modifying or removing sections of the Constitution that is referred to as amending the Constitution.
Yeah.
So I think that introductory chapter gives a good basis for that conversation. So that one, it's an understanding that the Constitution is dynamic.
Yeah.
And it is dynamic in the sense that it reflects the dynamism of a society and a people and a group. So that what we need right now might not be what we need 10 years from now.
True.
Things might change.
Yes.
And if we are going to abide by the law, if we are going to be law-abiding citizens and focus on the rule of law, then the laws are supposed to work for us. Laws are supposed to serve society as opposed to the other way around.
Yeah.
So the laws that serve us today might not be the same laws that will be good for us. And it cascades all features. Take, for instance, the cultural issues that we keep dealing with. Then issues of FGM or FGM in particular serve the purpose for that community, but they do not serve communities. They do not serve us from a cultural perspective. So then we'll change that and say, fine, we respect cultural rights, but then these particular rights are not serving us anymore. So then we are going to change it. And then now at a broader scale, relating that to amending the Constitution.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. Then we have Honorable Retired, is it retired or does the RT in Raila Odinga mean?
Yeah.
RT for Raila Odinga. I see
Right
that.
Honorable.
Right Honorable.
Yes.
Raila Amolo Odinga and Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta shaking hands in 2018. And then the use case of BBI, you can read that and see for yourself. And then there are chapters there, proposed amendments. There are a couple of amendments that have been done here. Not so many of them, of course. And is it true that if you change constitution too much, you're not supposed to change it too much? Because it will hurt everything that it stands for.
I don't know if there's a limit to the number. Not that I have identified, because again it goes back to the dynamism of society.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And perhaps that could come from the conversation that most had with the Independence Constitution, where it was changed so many times to a point where it lost value and meaning to the people that it was meant to govern.
Yes.
And of course, now those are some of the things that the 2010 Constitution has tried to guard against by providing now the processes of amendment, so that it's not a personal whim, but it is something that requires consultation between citizens and the leaders. It's not something you wake up and you amend it tomorrow and then you change it the next day and you say something next week. It's something that requires moving forward with the Constitution, very consultative and very thorough. Yeah.
Nice. And last but not least, there is a chapter 17, general provisions. These are about definition of adult, child. But very interesting here at the end of, I think, page 132, it says my current affairs worksheet.
Yes.
So it talks about tracking the implementation of the Constitution itself. And it talks about use your current affairs worksheet on the next page to learn more about the Constitution by keeping track of how it is being implemented in your community. For example, what activities are happening in your school or in your locality? Do they further any aspect of the Constitution? Which leaders are in charge of that activity and how are they exercising their powers and responsibilities? You can also extend your knowledge and analysis to county and national events. For instance, what directives did the president or your governor issue this week? Are they legal? How does it affect your welfare and community interest? Stay informed about what is happening around you through newspapers, social media, and radio and television programs. Write your thoughts on the current affairs worksheet as regularly as possible. The more information you gather and analyze, the more informed and confident you will be about the Constitution. Remember to keep and refer to the Constitution of Kenya 2010 as you inform yourself of these current affairs.
And I like this part because if someone can make it an almost daily affair, and the purpose is to ensure that as a young person, you understand that your day-to-day activities, every aspect of your life is governed by the law, and every aspect of your life is influenced by politics. And the Constitution cuts across almost everything that you do on a day-to-day basis. You go to bed, you have shelter, that goes to the right to adequate standards of housing. We talked about food, having dinner, to what extent consumer rights. You wake up, even the toothbrush and the toothpaste you're using the next day.
Yes.
That relates to consumer rights. It relates to matters trade. It relates to the laws. It relates also to the laws in the country that relate to trade. I think I've said that as well.
Yeah.
You go to school, right to education.
Yeah.
You are leaving your house using a matatu,
Yeah.
Quality of the roads, right to infrastructure.
Yeah.
The kind of decisions that your leaders are making at the local level to ensure that the infrastructure is improved. So if you make it practice to look at things in that manner, then you understand yourself more as a citizen.
Yeah.
You understand the role that politics and the Constitution plays in your life.
Yeah.
And then you can see the areas you are better able to critique or to support particular decisions that are being made in terms of leadership and governance. And you're able to participate better as a young person in nation and as a citizen.
Yeah.
Quality of life.
Yeah. Amazing stuff. That was Sandra Ochola. That was amazing stuff. The book is Teen's Guide to the Constitution of Kenya, 2nd edition. And I feel like we should venture into more of each topic in detail, debunk the myth, and clear the knowledge from the noise. And thank you to everyone who has joined us online on Twitter Space. We really appreciate. And until next time, thank you so much. But last but not least, I would recommend this book to any person who wants to support youth and also buy it for yourself. Actually, even for adults, you can read to, get the feel of what Constitution addresses and more. Until next time, I'm your host, Michael Kimathi.